Hey guys, good morning. Today we'll be discussing the character right before season 3, Diana. So, in the current banner, Diana is accompanied with Mika and Lucas. As for her partner, Sophia is accompanied by this and Carrot. Alyssa and Carrot. So, Mika, as always, although she has fallen off in terms of people trying to use her with all the recent characters recently added, she's still really good, to be fair. Lucas, he's seen some use as of recent. His voice lines have been funny, and there have been a lot of 5-stars that empower the usage of Lucas. As for Sophia, I believe there are some controllers that uses Alyssa. As for Karate, I'm not too familiar. Alright, let's jump right to Diana. So Diana is a hunter, so she's similar roles with Renoa, as well as Passion. So as you know, hunters typically have the ability of creating cards, such as bullets. You could see it in Renoa, for example. Now let's look at the ego skill. It creates 1 Cupid shot and create 2 heart bullets. So the overall shtick that Diana has is that she creates a lot of cards and she introduces a new tag called Quietus. So before we just go into ego skill, let's go through her basic card first and then jump to ego skill later on. So for her basic attack card, Disruption, discards 1 random card of this unit. It's 1 cost, 100%, it's been upgraded of course, and discards 1. Her basic shield or heal ability is Protect Me, 1 cost and heals 100%. Okay, so here we're going to look at the new mechanic that Diana provides. So with All My Heart, 1 cost attack card and has the tagline Quietus. When this card is discarded, activate this card. This card cannot be moved from the used card pile for this turn. So it has the effect of dealing 120 damage and creates 2 Heartbreakers. Heartbreakers, this is one of the bullets that she creates. 0 cost card, it has a bullet. Haste, which is has the ability or the tag, this card does not reduce enemy's action count. And Exhaust, so you can see whenever you play this card, it doesn't reduce the action bar of the character, of the enemy rather. It has a 90%, I believe it starts at 90%, and discards 1 bullet card. So you can see the combination here. If you run with All My Heart, once you create this, you play Heartbreaker and then it plays itself. And because it's discarded, if this card is discarded, deals 144 extra damage, extra attack to a random enemy. So you can see already how Diana plays. Basically, she generates bullets to some of her cards, and then you play those cards through discard, which activates Quietus. So let's look through the Epiphany cards. Come here, Milk and Pong. So interesting names, to be frank. 1 cost skill and creates 2 Heart Shaker. So this is a different bullet from earlier. The previous one I believe is Heartbreaker. This one is Heart Shaker. So if we look here in Heart Shaker, it's bullet, haste, and exhaust. Does 1 resonance, which is a debuff to the enemy on card discard of yourself. 80% extra attack, then decrease resonance by 1. So you can see what happens is that when you play this card, it discards a random card from your draw pile, and then it deals 80% attack, and then reduces the count of the enemy. So if they have 2, if you activate the effect, it becomes 1, it deals 80% damage, and it gets the draw card of the bullet, and activates the effect if it does have an effect, and then discards it. So you can see she has quite a lot of bullet generation, as well as bullet effects. So if this card is discarded, 2 resonance to a random opponent. So if it's a single target, it will deal 2 resonance to the enemy compared to 1. So as for epiphanies, okay. For the first one over here, with all actually, I forgot. With all my heart and the epiphanies right here. First one. It now, from originally 2, it becomes 3. So off the bat, off the rip, this is one of the better card epiphanies that you can take. It also gets additional damage, which is from 100% going to 150, I believe. It's great, but it does have a caveat that as you keep creating those heartbreakers, you're starting to add deck size, and it becomes hard to remove those if you don't have the necessary discard options. In the game, there are only few discard options, like characters such as Nia, Renoa, and herself, Diana. But when it comes to neutral cards, there isn't a lot. So for number 2, it's still a 1-cost attack card, 180% damage, originally 150. Creates 1, so from 2 it becomes 1, but draws 2 extra bullet cards. I think this has some purpose. For example, if you're playing characters such as Kairon, such as Renoa or Luke, and you have the mindset of trying to declutter your deck because of all the generated bullet cards, this is an appropriate option. Number 3, with all my heart, 1-cost still, 108%, changes all 1 or lower exhaust cards into Heartbreaker. So this, I believe, also affects Kairon. So, but you typically want to use this for characters that generate like bullet cards typically. So the issues here is that it's gimmick based. So you're having the idea of spamming Heartbreakers, and if we're going to come from a mindset of how much utility it provides, it doesn't provide that much, to be honest. Okay, number 4. So originally from an attack card, becomes a 2-cost skill, creates 2 Heartbreaker, applies Quietus to all exhaustible bullet cards in hand. So this makes it so that Quietus, as you've seen in the previous effect of how Quietus works, turns all exhaustible bullet cards, be it coming from the builds from Renoa or Luke or Lucas. This allows us to at least have the tagline Quietus, which is a really beneficial effect when it comes to playing with Diana. I think this is the best option among all of the choices, and you should be typically creating multiples of this, I believe. Don't forget the effect of Quietus. When this card is discarded, activate this card. So you can imagine the combination, what would happen. Okay, number 5. So from 1 attack card becomes a 3 upgrade. Can at the start of a turn, create 2 Heartbreakers. If 5 or less Heart Bullets are owned, create 1 more. This is more of a card generation, I guess. It has the issues wherein it could lead to cluttering your deck once again, but also loses the fact that in the event you want to do a one-shot or you have a sick-ass combo to 1-turn kill, you won't be able to maximize this effect. It isn't a bad card if any to consider, but it wouldn't be my priority. So once again, the best options would probably be number 4. If and only if you have characters that generate a lot of bullets, Renoa, Lucas, and Luke. Number 1, it's a basic effect card. It's straightforward. It creates 3 Heartbreakers. You can effectively manage the generation of the cards, so it doesn't clog too much. Number 5. Maybe number 2. So 4 is my S tier. A tier would be 1. B tier would be 5 and 2. And then I wouldn't touch number 3. Unless if you have like a sick ass combo that I don't know of. But I wouldn't generally recommend it. Okay, we're coming back here to Come Here Milk and Pong. I believe Pong is like a cereal in Korean. Okay. Number 1. So originally a 1 skill card with only the effect of creating 2 heart shakers. Now it has an added effect of for the next 3 extra attacks by a different combatant, apply 1 resonance to the target. As we know, resonance is an debuff on whenever you discard 80% extra attack, then decrease resonance by 1. As there are, you apply typically 3 resonance, and whenever you do a discard, it uses the resonance effect. So it has some combos. I see the purpose. And I think it's pretty good if you can utilize the use of the card itself. Not bad, not bad. Number 2. Discard up to 2 cards in hand. Create Heart Shaker for each discarded +1. So we have the X+1 meme over here. This is a great card. The ability to create Heart Shakers up to 3. It also seems a means of... Because as you know, there are only a few options to discard. And having the ability to discard 2 is such a good option since you want to play around Quietus, right? I'd say this is one of the best options so far. Number 3. So from 1 becomes 0, still a skill cost. Change 0 cost cards in hand into random heart bullets. So you're playing around the fact that you want Diana to be the star of the entire team. It's a pretty good way if you have the intention of only using Diana as your main DPS. I think I wouldn't use it primarily, to be honest. Number 4. Create 1 of each bullet. Heart bullet, so that's Shaker and Breaker. Yes. Applies 1 resonance to a random enemy for each different bullet cards in hand. So it doesn't specify if it's coming from Diana alone. So what you can do here is that if you have Luke for example, and Diana, so you have 2 from her, and Luke I believe has a billion, or was it 5? So you have 7 resonance applied. I can see some combos, but it does guarantee at least 3 resonance coming from Diana because of Cupid Shot, Heartbreaker, and Heart Shaker. Pretty good. So what happens is probably, yeah, I think it's a pretty good option. You can do Heartbreaker. It discards your Heart Shaker, and then Heart Shaker will play a random bullet from your deck, and then it applies another Quietus effect, right? And does resonance. Okay, next one. So gets a tagline, retain and unique. Changes Heart Shaker into Heartbreaker. On retain, create 1 Heart Shaker. I see some purpose. Being it unique, and because Heart Shaker doesn't have the effect where it uses. Personally, I wouldn't use it, to be honest. So if I were gonna rank, 1, 2, and 4 would be your options depending how you would play it. Ideally, I'd prioritize number 2. And then from the remaining 2, the next one would be on a B tier, number 5. And then a C tier would be number 3. Okay, not bad. Oh yeah, Pistol Purification. 1 cost attack card. It has a bullet and Quietus, a tagline. So we have 4 bullets, I believe, now. Deals 144 to resonance. If this card is discarded, activate resonance inflicted on the target by this unit 3 more times. So if you've seen the preview or you've seen the combat value thing, you've seen her spam the bullet shots. So it most likely came from here, I think. On the Epiphanies, the first one, so from originally 2, it gets a damage boost, originally from 180%, I believe. And then 2 to becomes 3. If this card is discarded, it activates from 3 going to 5. That's a lot. So that's a lot of damage, to be frank. Really good. So you're guaranteeing 250% just from extra damage alone because of a resonance activation, right? And then you have the added effect of 180% then and 180% damage dealt from the base 200 from the base attack, right? So this is really good. Number 2, 216 damage. Not bad. For the next 5 haste attack cards, use 1 resonance for the target. The conditions for this is quite hard. Not necessarily hard. You have an additional condition compared to the first first Epiphany. If you can manage it, it could be more worthwhile because if it's 5 attack card use, you have the potential of 200% more extra damage compared to the 240. If I'm at right. But you have 3 versus 5. So it's up to your choice. But the first one is easier to use for sure. So number 3, it loses the initial effect, but activates resonance inflicted on the target by this unit 10 times. The issue here is that it's activating, but you're not necessarily inflicting resonance. And since resonance is a consumable debuff, it would seem to be a really hard thing to manage, right? So I wouldn't suggest this. Number 4. Plus 100% additive damage for each bullet card discarded this turn. So this has a combination with the previous Epiphany or the previous cards. Mere Pong, I believe. It has some uses. To benefit from this, you would use all of the 3 or 4 bullet cards that Diana has. So it becomes 616% damage. I see some purpose. It benefits a lot from buffs, for example, like morale. Not bad. Okay, number 5. So it's 180. When this card is discarded, activate resonance inflicted on all allied enemies twice. It seems kind of redundant since we're already doing resonance naturally, I think. But the idea here is you're playing it as an AoE effect, and so far all of Diana's bullets only target 1, right? So there's almost no purpose or there's no benefit in picking this up. Okay, so if I were to take number 1 and number 4, and then number 2, and then let's rather not consider 3 and 5, right? Okay, next one, Blooming Love. 1 cost skill card, draws 1 Quietus card, so her own card, or if you have the previous Epiphany that converts all accessible cards into Quietus. This is also including those. Okay, so Epiphanies. Draw 1. So from originally 2, it becomes discard 1. But it does get the effect of the discarded card was a part of a different combatant. Create 2 heart bullets. It's okay. I see it. Yeah. So if you it benefits if you have a dual setup for bullet generations. I'd see some purpose for this. And because it's to create two hard bullets, it's random to what kind of hard bullets will be able to generate between breaker or shaker. Okay, number 2. Retains the original effect. 1 resonance to all enemies for each combined cost of discarded cards. It becomes a way of applying resonance depending on the cost of the cards. And it still has to discard too. I think this is one of the better options to pick up. And the fact that you apply resonance to all of the enemies, and it just needs to consider the cost of the cards. You'd probably be applying like 2 if you're just shuffling around Diana's own cards. Okay, number 3. Discard 3 in hand and draw quietest cards for each discarded -2, so you'll only be getting 2. So you wouldn't. This is still good, but the idea here is that maybe you'd combo this with characters such as Renoa or Luke. Number 4. Discard all bullets in hand. 80% extra attack to a random enemy for each discarded. If you have morale, this has a lot of benefits, I think. Yeah, that sounds fun, right? You're just removing, in fact, all of the cards that you initially had in mind. And then you're just dishing a lot of tons of damage on the fly. So number 5, from a 1 cost upgrade card becomes 3. If no, and it becomes a unique. If no quietest cards of this unit are in hand, draw 1 of this unit once per turn. It's really nice. It's a good way of guaranteeing a quietest on hand. Pretty good. Okay, if I were going to rank 2, 4, and 5 would be the best options, and then number 1, and then number 3. So S tier would be 2, 4, and 5. A tier would be 1. B tier would be 3. Okay, now let's talk about ego skills. So as you know, Diana has 2 bullets, but on 5 EP, she creates a Cupid shot which deals 140% damage and 70 extra for a random mana for each bullet card in hand. So you benefit a lot from having a lot of bullets in hand before you play this card. And then you discard all of those cards. You can see this is typically just a really good combo piece, right? For card motion values, I recommend getting 4, 1, and 2. Quite simple. Okay, let's talk about partners. So, quite frankly, the best partner so far would be just Sophia. So, let's introduce Sophia. Sophia increases assigned combatant's attack by 16%. This multiplicative, but a lot. When a passion quietest card of the assigned combatant is discarded, as you know, this is really catered for Diana. It has both the passive caveat and the quietest caveat, and has a discard thing. So it has plus 20% crit damage, and when 3 bullet cards are discarded, assigned combatant performs 200% to a random enemy twice per turn. So 20% to 40% crit damage buff, does a lot of things, but it's really catered for Diana. So if I were gonna say, you have to pull for Sophia, to be honest. Otherwise, a good option would be Akkad. Just frankly, a pretty good option, 40% on max dupe, I believe. Increases damage amount of assigned combatant bullets by 18%, multiplicative. when they land a crit, increase bullet damage for 21 once per turn. So, or 20% for for one turn. So this is a good option. Another would be probably just straight up Yuri. As you know, this is the GOAT. So overall, these two would be the best options, Sophia and Akkad. Just use it for your own discretion. Okay. Now let's look at the potentials. So in the recent update, they've included this, and this changes a lot, to be frank. So let's go through the entire thing. Okay. Your priorities this time would still be... Okay. Of course, unlock this one. This adds this card, so this allows us to do the mechanical quietus on the basic attack card. So as you do your chaos runs, you would eventually remove the basic card still, but you don't necessarily have to remove them immediately. Next one would be, of course, maxing out your crit chance, crit damage, as well as unique. But be sure to unlock this node over here if you have crit chance greater than 10, plus 4% extra attack for every 5% crit chance, at most 8%. This is still a really good big node upgrade. Once again, the best upgrade would be unlocking this first, unlocking this, unlocking this, so you can go for here. This allows us to build decks quite faster. And then after we unlock these big nodes, we eventually opt for going to upgrade the 3 unique crit chance and crit damage, typically. Okay, let's talk about sets. They still benefit from 2-2-2. Typical as always, no specifics. Crit. As for your substats, crit rate, crit damage, attack, and attack percent, and then attack. Maybe extra attack damage if you have the opportunity. Otherwise, pretty good. Quite simple. Main stats. Crit chance, always for your main stats. This allows because in this game it's quite hard to hit your crit chance thresholds compared to other video games. So you still benefit from getting main stat crit chance. She benefits a lot probably from passion percent attack damage. Otherwise attack percent. Always just if you're going to choose, go to the relics that have the best, or memory fragments, sorry, not relics. Memory fragments with the best substats. As for the third slot, this is still attack percent. I forgot to change this, but I really wanted to. Yeah, I just forgot to change this. But attack percent benefits a lot here. Okay. Ego manifestation. Let's go. Sleeping memory. Plus 100% for liberated feelings card. This is her This is her ultimate skill, I believe. I didn't go through this actually. So draw 2 exhaust bullets, 300%. For increased damage by 30%. So this becomes 450-ish. Not too special in my opinion. So, and changes draw count of exhaustible cards to 3. So we're playing with the idea of using liberated feelings. I wouldn't use it. I wouldn't recommend it. Number 2. Awakening memory. Each time an ally discards a card, gains 2 flutters. Flutters on end of turn, 200% extra attack to the target with the highest max HP, and increases damage amount of the extra attack by 10%, at max 20%. So it becomes up to 400% damage, I believe. It's good, but I wouldn't necessarily go for it. It doesn't change a lot, but it does deal a lot of damage. Number 3. Change cost of Radiant Hearts to 4 and generates 4 So this is our originally from 2, it becomes 4. This is our ego skill. Not too important, in my opinion. So that's Vivid Memory. Number 4, Inner Memory, plus 30% damage amount. So additive to extra attacks. This is just straight up buff, I believe. And 1% damage amount to Diana's extra attacks for each flutters that Diana owns. As you know, she gets 10 flutters over here. 20 flutters. So it becomes a plus 20. So it becomes 50% buff. Not too important, to be honest. Basic level things. Number 6. This is the big one, right? Each time an ally discards a card, so from 1 flutter becomes 2, and it increases from 20 to 30 flutters. Each time Diana flutters stacks to 30, and allies inflict 200% extra damage to a random enemy. Okay, so from what we gathered here, she doesn't need dupes, to be honest. Of course, if you're a fan of her design or your whale, this doesn't really matter to you. But in terms of efficiency rather, zero ego is fine. Okay, let's talk about our save data. With the big transition towards how save data are going to, there would be some changes, but overall, the several builds I can think of is just having multiples of With All My Heart with this effect. If you're planning to use other bullet creators as well. So what happens is that Heartbreaker activates the other bullets and a chain sequence would happen, so on and so forth. Having multiple copies of this allows us to generate more Heartbreakers, right? Next one would be Come Here, Milk and Pong. So discard 2 and create Heart Shaker, discard +1. This is a good way to remove all of those quietest cards and generally just activate it, right? So we're removing a lot of the bulk as we create those bullets. Okay, Blooming Love. I chose the option to have discard 2 and apply Resonance to AoE. Quite simple. So we have 2 cards here that discards. As for this one, I personally prefer this one. Discard 2 cards. So basically, we want a lot of Heartbreaker generations as well as a lot of discard options. For your gear or for the equipment, your weapon, I was farming in Foretold Ruins. So I chose this. Plus 15% attack. Enemies have 1 shield, deals punishments. The other good options would be like the Purple Gear Radiant Orb, 20% multiplicative with targets with shield. Rune Sword would be a good option. The basic Obsidian Sword. Senectus's drops for weapons are pretty good. Intellect of Chaos, for example. That's a gun. Second method, yes, of course, I forgot that. Extra attack damage plus 30. Pretty good options. As for your armor, Wings of Light. This allows us to have more crit chance. Another would be Fairy's Crown, which is a crit chance as well. Chains of Obsession, probably pretty good when using attack cards. This allows us to generate more fixed shields, I think. Mythics, or your accessories. I have this one with the buff over here. If the enemy is alone, increase damage by 30%. So the additive, 30%. This is really good. Or is it multiplicative? And then I have the bonus effect of 5 or more cards are created, plus 30%. Like I said, this is such a good upgrade, by the way. The other good option would probably be Amorphous Cube, of course. Fear of Randomness, that's the Senectus drop where you have plus 1 AP on start of turn. Dimensional Cube, I believe, additive damage for each discarded cards. Pretty good options. So don't forget, as many with all your heart, and then all the options for discarding those cards. So overall, Diana is a pretty good character to own. Unfortunately, she comes right before Hyde Mary. But overall, she's a really good character. She's been really fun to play in conjunction with characters with bullet generation such as Renoa, Luke, or characters that have Discard, Nia, who else? The GOAT himself. Cassius, I haven't played with him since the changes. Yeah, I recommend it. But of course, pull the characters that you want, not because of what you need. CZN is a great game where it has quite some flexibilities in that regard. And that's it for the video. Really say to you all, have a nice day.